Friends, we start the first session with Dr. Anita Gupta. Maybe you can all come on stage and I don't know if you can use the collar mic or and sit and speak if you want. I call upon stage Dr. Mahesh Krovidi and Dr. A.S. Rao. Yeah. I leave it up to you how you would like to, because then what happens is all the questions will come, so you can yeah, you can come on stage. Just a little bit about the session. We are going to discuss broad issues that hinder the growth of startups. What are the bottlenecks? And what the government is doing. So we have three eminent people here to talk about it. From the government side, Dr. Anita Gupta. She is going to share her views and her experience of spearheading one of the key initiatives from the Department of Science and Technology, NEB, which is basically focused only on startups, and she has been doing it for the last so many decades. We also have Dr. Mahesh Krovidi, who is the CEO of NID's incubation park. He was looking after the park in Ahmedabad, and presently he is in charge of setting up the incubation center in Vijayawada. So we will like to hear from him the practical problems that he faces. Welcome, sir. Welcome, madam. And I would like to say our very own Dr. A.S. Rao, who has been with the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, and he was one of the key people in starting technology-based startups in the country maybe 15 years back. His TEPP program is still talked about in government circles, and he has made a big difference for techno-entrepreneurs. And he continues to be totally cued in to the techno-entrepreneurship network. So we like to hear his experience and what exciting things he is doing. Welcome, sir. So we'll start with Dr. Anita Gupta's presentation. I leave it entirely up to you how you want to, yeah.
Talked about in the morning session about the startups. Let me tell, as within the Department of Science and Technology, and being the pioneer, having played a pioneering role in promoting the culture of technology-based entrepreneurship in India right from the early 80s. I'll just sail you through the journey so far. Next. I'll not dwell much upon these. These are the focus of government. 3Ds, 4S, new S is added as startups. 5Ts, where technology also plays a significant role, and the 6 initiatives of the and ambitious program of the government, which we have already talked about, where the Startup India is the latest one to add on. So with that, so much focus on startups, entrepreneurship. This has also been shared in the today's session that we happen to be the third largest startup ecosystem in the whole world globally, only followed by US and UK. This is an NASSCOM report which was released in 2014, and there are 5-6 pockets of startup activity clearly visible in the country, dominated by Bangalore, NCR, which largely account for 90% of the startup activity in the whole country. We have a set of, their numbers may vary because there are now many private incubators also which have come up, but 120 largely includes our set of around 80 plus incubators and 40 accelerators in place in the country, which are all private driven. So when we discuss the issue of growth, we should know how a startup, what's the life cycle of a typical startup is. So from idea, seed, early, mid and late stage. You see between idea and seed stage where they are devoid of cash, where the most investment from the government is pouring in. This is the area, idea and seed stage, where we have devised most of our schemes to fill the gap. And like in the various stages, how the typical startup gets funded, the sources are mentioned. So our role is largely confined to first very early infancy stage of a startup. It's a very nascent stage. So all those who are in the space of funding a startup, they know Death Valley, Valley of Death. And in terms of scaling an S&T-based, S&T-driven innovation to market, this is the most challenging area. How you translate R&D output to a successful commercialized product, a viable product in the market. And therefore, why government is investing. In fact, we can call us as early VCs. Government is, in fact, because we are sharing risk with the startups where in this space, nobody will dare to venture. CP, VCs come, they minimize their risk at the behest of government. They are coming at there is something, and how they mitigate risk, although they have their own due diligence and process where to invest and how much returns do they expect. But like government is the lead source of providing funding at this critical stage. So I represent a board which is known as National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board. It has no legal entity. It's a very much part of the Department of Science and Technology. But it was, I must say, conceived when Government of India at that time was very well ahead in its thought process. Guided by the global examples like Stanford, UK, they decided that we need to link and integrate the culture of entrepreneurship within the academic institute, and S&T professionals should be motivated, encouraged to have the culture of entrepreneurship. So that was our key mandate with which this board was constituted. But we cannot promote a meaningful and gainful entrepreneurship without if you actually ask anybody to fish, you can read the skills how to fish, the equipment and the availability of the fish. But can you ensure enough water? So this is the water which government is trying to fill the gap in terms of ecosystem. Our activities and domain largely confines to three broad areas. We, starting from bottom of pyramid, we have a micro enterprise development program. How do we link various S&T interventions to improve the life, you can say, quality of life at various grassroots level? We have a lot of efforts on capacity building the right kind of skills, knowledge set through 4 modules of our training. And our lead partner in this activity is Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India based out of Ahmedabad. And our flagship activity is the technology business incubators. How do we translate student, academic or any S&T professional driven startup which is focusing on an innovative product or service to technology business incubators. So these are the 3 domains of activity. And we focus a lot on how to scout for new innovations, technologies. First is searching and sorting. POI, you must have heard of Power of Ideas, which we fund in partnership with Economic Times. CII, based out of IIM Ahmedabad, is the lead implementation partner in this, and the 2015 series is still going on. We have another one, which is India Innovation Growth Program with the Lockheed Martin of USA. And this is implemented with the help of Indo-US Anti-Forum as well as FICCI, who is our commercialization arm. And this is also providing a good platform to scout for nationwide innovations and technologies by Indian citizens. Then we have this IDC is instilling the culture of entrepreneurship in various academic institutes, engineering colleges, largely in engineering colleges. I studies our micro enterprise development program. I talked about this while I dwell in subsequent slides. Scaling is a big issue for which the title of our today's event is. Scaling, because as we told, we are only confining to idea and seed stage, and scaling happens much later. It's only the catalytic support, and we are the facilitator to that stage. After that, it depends upon the startups how it takes it forward through various connections, various links. And ISBA happens to be the incubation association, Indian Science Parks and Business Incubator Association. And they are also utilizing some connects through various TIE chapters across various locations. A lot of efforts are, as I told, in capacity building and also some policy advocacy with the government to improve the overall ecosystem and provide more enabling measures. These innovation startups are showcased. Of late, President of India has shown active interest, and innovations are also showcased in President State. There is Innovator in Residence program in place, and Tech Expo is largely our IIGP innovators and startups are exhibited. It happens once or twice, 2 times in a year, and this time on 11th of December in Delhi it is being held. So innovation, entrepreneurship, incubation are the 3 pillars on which our board focuses on. So I just will cut down because it's all established when a startup, first generation entrepreneur with no prior exposure and lack of business acumen, lack of resources, they very much required the business support services. That's why we focus on various mechanism, institutional mechanism. How do we lend support to such fledgling startups in the country? And these are the global statistics which also are giving evidence that their government should do, and incubators could be a potent tool for providing business support services at the initial or very early stages. See, because first generation entrepreneur with no prior exposure, incubators dabble on a very unknown phase. Ability of entrepreneur, potential of idea, what would be the future demand, ability of finances, and practically comes with zero finance. And team is also usually led by 1 or 2% at the stage, at the time when they enter the incubator. So it's a very so what is the recipe of success of a startup in an incubator at the very intake stage? It's all unknown in the beginning. It's a very challenging area, although very exciting. So if we define what does a technology business incubator supported by DST do, it can be summarized in one line. It's a creation of a business which is built around a technology, focuses on idea and early stages, based on the academic rigor, pool of knowledge, led by a team of students, alumni, professors, based on the work created by utilizing academic infrastructure. So this is our core focus. Most of our incubators are hosted by academic institutions of repute like IITs, NITs, few IIMs, and many private engineering colleges also. So when we had commissioned a short study which was given to cyber media, so when they interviewed incubatees, so what was the missing part in the incubation program? You can say mentors, funding. These are the 2 critical which emerged out. So funding, support, marketing, these are the critical areas which a good incubation program should focus on. And I'm very happy to see what Telangana government has meticulously planned the whole incubation program. So the missing links, the missing pieces are well woven in the whole model. So this I'll skip. This is not very like, these are shared communication, all those facilities, services which are provided. So guidance to inexperience through mentorship is also a critical area. What we found when it clearly emerged that funding is a critical need of a startup at that idea stage. So we started in 2008. We started with seed fund program, which is not given to all incubators supported by us. There has to be good pipeline of incubators. There has to be a team in place which actually understand the business plan, do some sort of a due diligence of the startups. So it is 200 lakhs worth of fund which is given to each incubator, and maximum 50 lakhs to an incubator startup. And they have a local level selection committee in place to screen and evaluate the potential startups. It has to be a physical incubator who can be eligible for seeking such kind of seed fund. So it's not only 20-30% of incubators have been are having the seed fund. Yeah. Not only that, like since our ecosystem is still evolving, so we collaborated with a lot of international where it is much more mature. We have collaborated with EU Network, UK Business Incubators Association, Swedish InfoDev program of the World Bank offers lot of financial support and capacity building support to a couple of incubators who are engaged in ICT for social development. Asia Pacific Incubation Network, India is currently secretariat. Lot of capacity building, information sharing platforms have been supported through National Business Incubator Association of US. Through India Innovation Growth Program, we have 2 knowledge partners currently, ICC Institute Austin, which actually provides one of the USP of the program is they offer quick look reports. Our startup is there, what could be their global market potential. Berkeley, Stanford, where we is a recent partner in the IIT evaluation process. So what over the years we have been able to bring out some policy interventions, do some policy advocacy, tax exemption to startups from 2008. Incubators by design are not-for-profit entities. They are not-for-profit registered society, Section 25 or Section 8 company, but they are permitted to hold equity in startups. And last year, the CSR funds can also be routed to incubators. But this is a very new area. We are in the process of sensitization of both companies and incubators to how to avail this, the pool of 20,000 crores available for CSR. So, what is the big picture of incubators currently through our efforts of say about 2 decades? So we have 585,000 square feet, 2,500 new ventures, 950 graduated, turnover of between in 12-13, 300 crores, 450 patents, copyrights, and annual footfall of nearly 14,750. So it is not only ICT, but we focus on various other core sectors. So current our portfolio is 85, out of which we have closed down. We have invested about 200 crores. The space so far created is to accommodate about 1,050 high-tech ventures. We have given about 50 crores to the PBIs so far under the seed support plan, and which has actually 200 ventures have availed this fund. So this is a valuation of our startup companies in the incubator. This is the one of the biggest pharma hub, IKP. We have supported two incubators are housed in chemical incubator and life sciences incubator. Technopark Trivandrum, which is largely a state government initiative. They also have our supported IT-based incubator. And I think many of you have heard about the startup village based out of Kochi. And the the example of this has been initiated by a successful incubating company from Technopark. He once entered my head's office. He says, if I arrange 50% of funding, can you give me funding? I want to mobilize students from Kerala who go out, leave the state and go to Gulf and elsewhere. I want to retain them. Can you give? So it was a deal done within an hour's time. Mr. Mittal says, if you can arrange 50% of funding, government will give. So this was the first model where a successful incubator saw. Mahesh is there. He can dwell more if you want about, because he is the one who, based on the Peltier chip technology, he has devised various which can be used for temperature control in harsh weather conditions.